Good morning, everyone. This morning we have Mahogany Brown. She's going to speak to us in regards to what it's like to be a chemist, what drew her to that role, what are some highs and some lows within the industry and the role, and what career path has she chose, or why did she chose that career path. We ask that you mute all lines. Any questions that you may have, please key them into the Zoom chat box. Once again, thank you, Mahogany, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Good morning, everyone. I am excited to be on this call to share my career experiences, my career paths, and just give you a whole overview of how I've landed in my career. But first, I want to start. Her name is Mahogany Brown, as Raquel spoke about. I am from Victoria, Texas, so I am pretty excited to engage in different community activities and just kind of pay it forward to the younger generation that's coming up behind me. That is one of my biggest passions. I do have a degree in chemistry. I went to Texas A&M University, Kingsville, Texas, and I was an athlete. I did play college basketball. And it was tough trying to manage those two, but I had to find out what I really, really enjoyed. A side note is when you're an athlete, most of the coaches try to push you to become a coach or become a teacher, but I did not have that drive. I knew that I wanted something a little bit more, and I needed to be challenged a little bit more. So this kind of just is a little bit of background about me, but this is how I got to where I am today. I am a first generation college graduate in my family. And so that was a really, really big milestone for me. And that was a really, really big driver of why I wanted more growing up, coming from Victoria, Texas. So again, hello. I've told you a little bit about myself, and now I'm just going to dive into some of my highlights in my career. Prior to Dow, I was a chemist for Baker Hughes, going to every different oil field location that I possibly could in South Texas, ranging from San Antonio, Moulton, Shiner, Houston, just covering the whole Gulf Coast region. After the oil field kind of took a boom, I was like, okay, you know what? I want something a little bit more stable. So that's when I started looking into the Dow chemicals. I was fortunate to land a job here in Victoria, Texas, and was able to relocate and come back home and work for Dow. And ever since then, it has been a very great experience. A little bit about Dow. Dow combines the power of science and technology to passionately innovate what is essential to human progress. And that word passion really, really, really resonates with me, because science and technology, that was my wheelhouse. That was what really, really, really got me excited, got me really inquisitive. It's just what I wanted to do. So again, Dow has been able to accommodate my passions and my intrinsic motivators. Dow is very, very big. There's so many careers throughout Dow. We have 59,000 employees worldwide. We are in 34 different countries with 189 locations. So some of those countries and some of those sites, we have multiple Dow locations. We have 7,000 different product lines, and our product lines are continuing to grow. A side note, I don't know if you guys have been up with the news, but during this whole COVID-19, Dow, we also tapped into the hand sanitizer market as well. And so we're really excited about that, as well as we continue to grow and look for innovative technologies. As we talked about in the previous slide, you know, the passion is around science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So if I just think about why I'm at Dow, it's because of this STEM approach, right? And I'm in the lab and I get to really touch on all these bases. So when we're doing different lab testing, there's some type of science involved. We have to understand how that poly melts or or what drives that poly, or how can we have that catalyst reaction. So that's really, really a big piece of the actual poly that we make it down. The technology, as you know, in the different units, you have to have different technology, you have to have different processes, you have to have different systems in order for those reactions to happen. And so at Dow, we also get to experience the technology piece of that. Engineering, what will we do without engineers? I'm a chemist, I'm not an engineer, but we do have to work together so that we're all aligned with one goal. Math in the lab, as you know, when we're looking at those different data points or that different collection set or things of that sort, there's some statistical analysis that goes with that so that we can better understand what's going on with that sample and be able to articulate the data that's generated from those different analyzers or those different instrumentations that we're using to better help our units. So again, when I said, think of the word passion, the whole thing, the whole realm of STEM just comes to my mind. As we talked about, so science, technology, engineering, mathematics, those are all a big piece of how we become more innovative and how we deliver and how we drive our products. As we talked about, we have 7,000 different products. So within that product realm, we're touching the ag building, we're touching the automotive, we're touching building and constructions, we're touching the consumers, the beauty products, the electronic materials, the energy and water, the industrial business, the infrastructure, the packaging. So as you can see, we are a very dynamic company and also continue to grow and to see how we can better suit the human need. So these are some thought-provoking questions. And like I said, I want to be really informal, but I really, really want to be a realist and just really let you know the ins and outs. So why do you think Dow will be a great place to start your career? Well, everyone has their own bucket or checklist that they would like to mark off. But when I think about mine, I wanted stability, right? So when I said I went from the oil field to Dow, I was thinking about stability. How can I continue to provide for my family? How can I continue for my career to grow? And when you talk about that career aspect, yes, I am housed in Victoria or Seadrift, Texas. But when we talk about those 139 different countries or locations, that's a career path that I can take if it fits from a business and a professional need. So some of the things to think about is a long-term job, a stable job with competitive pay. Another thing is the market competitive benefits, vacation and holidays, flexible work schedule. And I have to say, with this whole COVID-19, Dow has really, really, really accommodated their people, as well as to making sure that we're still driving product, that we're still meeting business needs. We have some people working virtual. We have our essential workers that are frontline out there making that product continuously. So when I think about it, and I have not really expressed this to leadership, but Dow has really, really played a big part with this COVID-19. I have some employees that are stressed. I have some employees that don't know how to handle this pandemic. But Dow is trying to accommodate the best way that we know how to make sure that we're staying safe and we're still producing that product. Again, a quality of life, right? What type of quality of life do you want to live? So those are just some bullet points that I put together that you can kind of start resonating and thinking about when you are looking into your career. Hopefully it's Dow, or if it is another company, those are some things to really kind of get you thinking around what your career path looks like. When choosing your career, what should you think about before making that decision? Well, a lot of things, I'm from Victoria, so it's like, do I want to live in the country or do I want to live in the city? What type of lifestyle do I want? And so that bucket of lists or that bucket of questions might be different from what I think I want to live or how I want to live and things of that sort. So what type of lifestyle do you want? I'm okay with the country, but I love the city. Where do you want to live? You know, like we said, Dow is globally. So we have some plants in Houston, we have some plants in Pearland, we have a plant in Louisiana, two places, St. Charles and Plaquemine. So it's just where you want to live. Which companies have enough job opportunities? Like I said, Dow, we're always looking into different human needs and things of that sort. So there are job opportunities out there. I'm going to be quite frank with you. Sometimes it's not easy to get to Dow, but you have to stay consistent and you have to continue to apply when you see those different roles that you have a passion for. What are you good at and what do you enjoy doing? So you have to have a transparent approach of what you really like and what do you enjoy doing. So in my personal experience, I go back to that slide previously, STEM. I love science, I love technology, I love engineering, and I love math. And so I think that being a chemist or majoring in chemistry really gave me that wheelhouse to really touch on all of those. And then bringing my educational background to Dow has really challenged me and has really put me on a steep learning curve to where I do get to hang out and I get to understand those different fields in Dow. So the key message that I want to leave everyone with: align your career choice with your lifestyle you want to live, and also really, really align it with your passions. Because when you're passionate about something, it's not about how much money you make. It's not about, oh, I have to get up and go to work in the morning. You get up and you're happy and you're excited about it. So you have to align your career with passion. So these are some career choices. You can determine your lifestyle. You know, some people are really big into trucks. Some people are really big into vacations. I'm kind of a little bit of both, right? I'm just a little country girl, just trying to enjoy life and have a work-life balance, in which Dow really, really, really provides that. We have not yet started traveling that much, and don't plan to travel because of COVID-19, but eventually we would like to. So what lifestyle, your career choice can determine your lifestyle. So like I said, there's different job roles that make up the Dow family. There's different product lines that make up the Dow family. There's different experiences, expertise, and things of that sort. But I'm going to really hone in on the lab analyst role. So at Dow, we do have lab analyst positions. When we talk about money-wise, we start anywhere from $17 to $25 based on your experience, based on the market. It's just a few things that really factor in how we start our people from a salary standpoint. I'm very fortunate to have 7 labs at Dow. We have Poly Labs, which is the plastics lab, and we also have the chemicals lab. And within that organization, I think we approximately have about 70 people in our organization, and that ranges from lab analysts, chemists, leaders, and instrument techs as well. So I think, you know, when you think about your career, don't forget about Dow. And also just remember that we do have 7 different labs. There are people that take different career journeys. And so there are positions that do come available. The way to try to get into Dow as a lab analyst is we go through a third party called Kelly Services, and they're really good. We have a great partnership. When we have a vacancy, we immediately talk to Kelly. Kelly will post a job requisition on their actual website. We will physically interview all potential candidates, and then we'll get back with Kelly and say, yes, we chose to go with candidate 1, candidate 3, or candidate 5, and things of that sort, and then we'll work together. But from a career standpoint, I mean, Dow is a very great place to work. There's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of influential leaders. It's just especially at Cedar specific, it is a very family oriented work environment. And with that being said, that was my last slide, and I want to just turn it over for questions and just kind of have more of that dialogue with you guys. Are y'all there? Hello?
Does anyone have any questions at this time? Um, Mahogany, I don't know if you see, there's one in the panel. It says, are you guys hiring at the moment? And what would someone need to do in order to be employed there?
Currently, I see the chat now. Currently, we just filled 2 positions. We had one person starting on the 11th and one starting this Monday on the 18th. We do not have any positions now, but if you were looking, what I would do is I would go through Kelly Services, and I think it's www.kellyservices.com, and I would just create a profile and attach my resume. So when there is a position that comes available, you'll be the first to be contacted. What do you see as your next career move? I'm not really sure right now. I have a family, and my daughter is pretty much into every sport in Victoria, and just trying to move her around. I'm not really sure, but I do stay open, and I do stay ready for new challenges. Any other questions? I'm all yours.
Can you elaborate a little bit more as to how the changes are happening there for you at Dow with COVID-19, or just in general, what you've seen within the industries for those who are chemists? How has that impacted their daily work routine?
Daily work, to be quite honest, like I said, we want to keep our plants safe and keep our people safe as well. So we are rotating 7 on and 7 off with essential personnel. From a chemist standpoint, most of our chemists are working from home. We do require that they log in or WebEx every other day to kind of keep us in the loop on the projects that they're working on. And as I alluded to in the presentation, Dow has been very, very flexible with people, with employees and their personal dilemmas going through this COVID-19 as well as their business. So I have to say, I'm really, really happy with my company, and I am happy to work for them just to see how they're accommodating. We have a motto, people first, and they really are exemplifying that motto as people first. I was a chemist in my previous experience. Now I'm more in the leadership realm. And so I get to interact with them a lot and on a day-to-day basis via virtual, or sometimes when I am out there on the site. But I don't think that the COVID-19 pandemic has really, really affected us. We've just had to learn different ways and how to be more virtual and how to get those projects and those assignments done with the climate that we're in now.
Do you see you all working in a virtual space from here on out?
That's a great question. Our business is not set up for us to be as virtual as we have been. So eventually we are transitioning once things do calm down to getting back in the office. Can you tell us more about people skills needed with coworkers, customers, and others? Yeah, people skills it's a big part. as a chemist, typically, and working in the lab, we are we don't create we don't create money, right? So we have to serve the customers and the unit. So it's very, very critical that we have people skills. And so a lot of the times, when we do have our interview process, we go through a program called Hiring for Attitude. And within that program, you are able to understand better of the people skills or the technical skills or the behavioral based skills that the candidate does have. And it's like I said, it's a short interview. You can't really know all the ins and outs on a person, but it does give us a really good grasp of who we're trying to hire or the candidate.
Do you feel like being a chemist or being within the lab is inclusive environment for a female, um, what is considered a male dominated industry?
Yes, I do. But when we talk about inclusive, Dow has very big drivers on us being more inclusive. So we're being intentional on making sure that we're reaching out to females as well as males, as we are reaching out to different ethnicity backgrounds and things of that sort. So I know when you talk about the plant, growing up in Victoria, I knew about the plant, but however, I just knew that my dad worked at a plant and I never wanted to wear steel toe boots and things of that sort. But we are doing a better job getting out in the community and being able to really relate to females in general.
Now, what about somebody who may have a disability? What accommodations or what modifications can be done so a student won't be apprehensive in pursuing that field within the lab or within a chemist role?
Right. Well, that's a great question too. And like I said, we have a very, very inclusive environment and doubt. And that goes back to, we have a disability network, right? So if we're not very equipped or to meet that person or that employee needs, then we leverage and we bounce ideas off of the other different sites that have, similar disability setups and things of that sort. But that has never been a problem at Dow. There's a million disabilities, and we don't know them all, and I'm definitely not an expert in that, but that will never be a challenge for us to exclude someone out of the hiring process or working for Dow.
One last question from my end.
Uh-huh.
You speak that you're a global company. How open or available do you have to be to answer calls maybe from a different time zone? Although you're not a shift worker, how flexible do you need to be with accommodating others, whether they're employees, coworkers, or customers from different time zones, different countries, etc.?
Right. I would have to say it depends on which projects you're on and things of that sort, but we are accommodating and things of that sort. My personal experience, I have a meeting every Wednesday, once a month, and there's people from all over. And I think the start time is at 8:30, so it's pretty much the beginning of our day and the end of people in Janjagan or something of that sort. So it's you have to be flexible to a certain extent when you're on certain projects, but however, we are cognizant of how we do schedule those meetings.
That's great. Does anyone else on the call have any questions for Nahogany that you'd like to see her address at this time? With no further questions, I appreciate you all for connecting, and thank you, Nahogany, for sharing all this valuable information. If you do find that you have any questions later on, please email me. I can relay the questions to Nahogany and she can address them. Thank you all. Thank you, Nahogany. You all stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you so much.